and welcome to another BookTube video from me, Lauren, from Lauren and the Books. I hope you're all having a lovely Sunday. I've got Space Buns in and I've got a Spice Girls t-shirt on. Today I'm going to be running over the books that I plan to read in the month of November, birthday month. Now, there is also a Cozy Reader Night going on the 1st of November. Looking forward to Cozy Reader Night, David?
Yeah.
You gonna get us a nice bath bomb?
Oh yeah, I will. Definitely.
Yeah, he is going to get us a nice bath bomb. So there will also be a TBR going up this Friday for Cozy Reader Night and what I'll be reading and eating and things then. Cozy Reader Night, I'm sure before I get into this, Cozy Reader Night is something I host seasonally. It's an evening where we just relax and eat and read and be cozy and lovely. I'm active on Instagram and Twitter throughout using the hashtag Cozy Reader Night. I will link I've just realised I've got quite a lot of makeup under that eye there, haven't I? I will link the announcement video down below. So yeah, there'll be another TBR coming out this week, but hey, I love TBRs. So these are the books that I plan to read in the month of November, excluding the books that I probably will be reading for Cozy Reading Night. Now, amongst other things in November, non-fiction November goes ahead. So although I have not followed the prompts that the wonderful hosts of Non-Fiction November have provided with, I have definitely provided myself with more non-fiction for November than I have fiction. So let's start with the non-fiction, because I've got 2, 4, 6, 7 non-fiction books and then 5 fiction books. My plan is that I will always have a non-fiction book on the go. So even when I'm reading a fiction book, I'll probably have a non-fiction on the go as well. I also quite like to listen to non-fiction. So any non-fiction audiobook recommendations you've got, God, my makeup really is going everywhere. Any non-fiction audiobook recommendations you've got, please do pop them down below, because I don't really know what I'm going to listen to. Maybe the new Louis Theroux book. I think I might listen to that. That's non-fiction. But anyway, what non-fiction have you got here? Stop saying non-fiction. The first 2 are library books. The first one is Zadie Smith, Feel Free. This is very shiny. This is a collection of essays written by Zadie Smith. Haven't read any Zadie Smith for many, many years. She was one of the sort of first adult grown-up authors that I feel like I discovered. I remember reading, what is that book called? On Beauty. I remember buying it in Tesco's and reading it on Beauty and feeling very grown up. So yes, this is a collection of essays, and it's got everything. It says for here from Brexit to Beyonce, essays by Zadie Smith. So yeah, I really like her her writing style, so looking forward to reading that. And then the other book I've got out from the library is Feminism, a Graphic Guide by Kathia Genanata, and it looks as though the illustrations, which, look at that front cover, I'm going to love these illustrations, done by Judy Groves and Jem Mitten. Now this is black and white throughout, but yeah, it's got a history of feminism as it says on the tin, so I feel like that will be quite an interesting one to read via the means of a graphic guide to it. Then I've got a memoir. This is Diary of a Lone Twin by David Loftus. David Loftus is a food photographer, and I was aware of him because he does a lot of food photography for Jamie Oliver, who's one of my all-time faves. What I didn't know is that David Loftus was a twin and lost his brother, John. And it's been 30 years since the death of his identical twin, John, and David Loftus has puts into words here a year in the life of what it's like to not have a twin anymore, and I believe it goes back, so although it's like written in current day, it refers back to a lot of memories that he's got of the two of them, etc. So yeah, I feel like it's going to be super sad but also very, very well done, and I'm expecting there to be some fantastic photography throughout, so yeah, looking forward to that, preparing myself because I think it's going to be sad. The next one is a non-fiction book that I reread every year, and that is Names for the Sea, Strangers in Iceland by Sarah Moss. I've literally just spoken about this in my seasonal reads video. So this is the account of Sarah Moss and her husband and 2 young sons moving to Reykjavik in Iceland to take up a post there working at the university. And it's all about their sort of lives adapting to life in Iceland, from everything from sort of like the school system to the differences in food to how they celebrate Christmas, etc, etc. So yeah, really enjoy reading this. It just, whenever I read it, it makes me feel of winter because I always read it in November. So yeah, I'm not going to stop now reading that in November. The next one is a new one that I got sent earlier this year, and that's Queer Intentions, a personal journey through LGBTQ+ culture by Amelia Abraham. Yeah, and I'm looking forward to reading this. This is all about the, it says here, that today the options and freedoms on offer to LGBTQ+ people living in the West are greater than ever before, but a same-sex marriage, improved media visibility and corporate endorsement all they've cracked up to be. At what cost does this acceptance come, and who is getting left behind, particularly in parts of the world where LGBTQ+ plus writes aren't so advanced. Don't know why I couldn't get that plus out then. So yeah, interested in that. I've just flicked open, and the first chapter I looked at was The Business of Drag, which I feel like will be very interesting. The next one is a set of essays from Sinead Gleeson. This is Constellations. This has got one of the most beautiful front covers ever. It's published by Picador, and the end papers are also unreal. And this is essays all to do with a female body, what it goes through in terms of life, death, sickness, giving birth, and in particular what it's like for that female body to live in Ireland. Sinead Gleeson is an Irish author, and yeah, it's essays all about a female body and what it's like for females in Ireland, so very much looking forward to that. And then the last non-fiction I've got before we move on to the fiction is Invisible Women, Caroline Criado Perez. This is exposing data bias in a world designed for men, and I've heard quite a few people talk about this. I actually got sent this from the publisher and then lent it to my friend Emma, who found it very, very interesting, so I'm looking forward to getting into this. And this is all about different things in terms of how research etc benefits men. So for example, when they test dummies in crashing cars, the dummies are made to fit the male form, so they don't know what it's like for a woman to be in a car accident based on this dummy research. And there's all sorts of things like that, and I've been able to pull quite a lot of, so for example, where your doctor prescribes a drug that is wrong for your body. So yeah, I'm looking forward to getting some more examples of that. I've heard that this isn't very, so although this is sort of like a feminist text, it's not very feminist in terms of trans women. I don't know if this is the book that is referred to, but that's what I've heard about one of Caroline Criado Perez's books, so I will go into it with an open mind, bearing that in mind. So next on to the fiction. So the first one is a library book. It's one that I've had out from the library for ages. This is A Spell of Winter by Helen Dunmore. I just keep renewing this all the time. This is one that won the Women's Prize for Fiction. I can't even remember when. I mean, if I look when it was published, we'll be able to work it out. So 1995 this was first published. This was one of the winners of the Women's Prize for Fiction in the 90s. And I first saw this on Simon's channel, and thought, oh, I'll definitely get that. And I got that out. I got it out ages ago, and just been renewing it all the time. And now it is winter. This is one I should have included in my seasonal reads. I will get round to reading it. So I don't actually remember what it's about. I just remember thinking it sounded really good. Let's discover together. In the years just before the First World War, Cathy and her brother Rob find themselves living alone in a decaying English mansion with their distant, stern grandfather. Abandoned by their mother while their distraught father is confined to an asylum, they roam the grounds freely with little understanding of trespass. Lost in their own private world, they seek and find new lines to cross, but they are not so separate from the outside, nor as alone as they believe. It sounds a bit like the 13th Tale to me, which I really, really enjoyed. So yeah, let's get on to that. The next one is a thriller. Now, I was just thinking about how much I would like to read a thriller. I feel like this time of year calls for reading that is thrilling, and sort of like murder mystery, etc, etc. And the last I put on my autumn bucket list that I wanted to read a thriller, and the one I read I really did not get on with, so much so that I can't even remember. Oh, Adele it was called, by Layla Slimani. I gave it 5 stars, 1 star, 5 stars as if, and I thought, oh well, let's read just like a good old one that you do, like just one that's on the shelf that you've already got, one that looks like a page turner. And I've got The Daughter by Michelle Francis, and this says here, life as a single mother is hard, sometimes impossible, but it only brings Kate and Becky closer together. By the time Becky is making her own way into the world as a tenacious trainee journalist, Kate couldn't be prouder, but then the unthinkable happens. Kate's life is changed forever. Desperately trying to understand, Kate stumbles across a story Becky was researching. Is it possible that this cruel twist of fate wasn't an accident? So yeah, I sound interested in that. And then these last 3 are books that I did mention in my seasonal reads video. The first one is To the Bright Edge of the World by Eowyn Ivey. This is the book that I will be reading for my Patreon book club in November. Eowyn Ivey is the writer of the Snow Child, which is a book that I read many years ago. And yeah, this just, it sounds like, well, I mean, it's set in winter in 1885, and you're following a colonel who accepts the mission of a lifetime, and he goes to Alaska's Wolverine River, and you follow him and his men and what's going on there, but you also follow his wife back at home, and how her journey is just as sort of needs as much strength as his journey does. So yeah, excited about that. That's the alarm going off because David's got to get something out. Is it my alarm? Oh, David! Yeah. Have you got the sausage rolls out the oven? No. Would you? Oh, don't turn the oven off, it's got the cake in it. Oh, cake drama averted. I'm cooking a Halloween cake. I'm just cooking a marble cake now, and then I'm going to decorate it Halloweeny. Excited about that. The last two books. The first one is 5 Days of Fog by Anna Freeman. This is about, this is a proof copy, so this is not the front cover. This is about a female gang in post-war London. They're called the Cutters, and you're following the one of the girls in this gang. It's a female gang, whose mother, I believe, is the leader of the gang, and she meets a man who she wants to leave the gang for a sort of safer, more normal life, and whether or not that can go ahead. And this is takes place during the Great Smog of London, which I believe took place in December 1952, because I watched The Crown and I remember that episode. So yeah, I feel like this is going to be great. I've never read anything by Anna Freeman, but I'm very excited about it. And then the last one is the first in a series, and this is one I've been meaning to read for ages, and I cannot believe I haven't read it yet. And that's A Winter's Promise, which is the book 1 of the Mirror Visitor series. This is written by Christelle Dubois, and it's the first it is for Europa. It's the first translated YA they've had, so it's sort of fantasy. You follow Ophelia, who's able to travel through mirrors. She's set up in marriage, and she I don't know if that works out well for her, but she's got to travel through worlds and things like that. It's been compared here. It's sort of like, it says here, a fantastical story of intrigue and suspense. A Winter's Promise will find fans among readers of Philip Pullman's His Dark Materials series. Big words. So yeah, let's see how we get on with that. So those are the books that I plan on reading in the month of November. Got a bit of makeup up there as well, haven't I? Do let me know what books you're planning on reading in the month of November. Are you taking part in Nonfiction November? I'm trying to get them all here so I can sort of just post my thumbnail seamlessly at the end. We'll be very interested in hearing what you're reading in the month of November. Let me know, and I will see you all again soon for another Richard video.